There's always that one story you hear and just go, nah, no way. But then more pieces start coming out little by little and you realize, oh, yeah, this really did happen. And that's exactly the vibe around this latest Meghan Markle drama, this time involving Prince William. Now, listen, there's been a lot of crazy royal headlines over the years, but Thias 1 makes you sit back and question everything. So, here's the deal. A royal commentator, Enil Sean, recently revealed something so wild that even longtime Roy #all watchers had to double take. Apparently, Meghan Markle once requested that Prince William, yes, William, walk her down the aisle at her wedding. Not her own father, not a close family friend, not even Charles. She wanted William, you know, the future King of England, her fiancé's older #Rother. Like, what? Think about the audacity here for a second. Meghan wasn't just asking for hell #p filling in at a wedding. This wasn't about someone stepping in due to last-minute chaos. No, this came from a place that raised eyebrows for all #e wrong or #esons. Because what kind of woman asks her fiancé's brother to walk her down the aisle? Unless there's something deeper, the #re. And that's what set off this fire #storm. Because this wasn't just some awkward request. It #ost what many royal insiders had been whispering for years. That Meghan didn't just want into the royal family. She wanted the top spot. The crown, the title, the influence, the power. And Prince Harry, well, he just happened to be the most available and #RY point. Let's not forget, this isn't just speculation pulled from thin air. Royal insiders, journalists, and biographers have been talking about Meghan's ambitions for years. From the way she maneuvered into the public spotlight to how #fast she and Harry got engaged, it all moved at lightning speed. William reportedly warned Harry to slow down, to take a breath, to think about what he was really doing. But Harry didn't listen, and now he's dealing with the fallout. The signs were always there. William, by many accounts, never trusted Meghan. From the very begin #ning, he had doubts about her intentions. And how cold he not. He's grown up in a world where people constantly try to latch onto the royal family for status and clout. He has seen it all. So, #when Meghan came into the picture, and things escalated fast, William raised a red flag. But that red flag was ignored. Fast forward to now, and we're seeing all those early concerns turn #ing into real consequences. Harry's isolated. He's in America away from his family, stripped of his tit #les and military honors. He's gone from royal duties to podcasts, docu-series, and lawsuits. Meanwhile, Meghan's building a media brand, chasing Hollywood deals, and using the royal connection as a platform for her next career phase. And all of it makes TW #edding our request feel way darker and it did on paper. Because if you wanted your husband's brother to walk you down the aisle, maybe, just maybe, you didn't want #man you were marrying at all. Maybe what you wanted was the image, the posy #tie-on, the heir to the throne, not the spare. It also explains a lot about why Meghan never got along with Catherine. Because let's be real, who doesn't get ALO #ing with Catherine? The woman is calm, composed, hardworking, and rarely puts a foot wrong. If Meghan couldn't find peace with her, it probably had less to do with personality clashes, and more to do with envy. Egan wanted the crown, not just the tiara. And Catherine, she already had it. Prince William's instincts were sharper than anyone gave him credit for. While the world was getting swept up in the fairy tale love story of Harry and Meghan, William was watching it all unfold like a chess player seeing 5 moves ahead. He wasn't cold. He wasn't jealous. He was cautious. And considering everything that's come to light since, it turns out, he had every reason to be. Behind palace doors, William reportedly voiced his concerns early on. He warned Harry gently at first to slow things down. Meghan was an actress, an outsider, someone unfamiliar with the brutal expector #tie-ins and traditions of royal life. William knew better than most how soul-crushing that role could be. But Harry, fueled by emotion and the thrill of rebellion, didn't want to hear it. #E was convinced this was love. But was it really? Because once the dust settled and the spotlight dimmed, something became very clear. Meghan wasn't here to blend in. She wanted to lead, to shine, to run the show, and the monarchy, that's not how it works. According to longtime royal reporter Phil Dampier, Meghan never truly intended to stick around. The royal family was a stepping stone, a launching pad for bigger things. And if that's true, then everything, Teehee whirlwind romance, the glamorous wedding, the carefully curated public image was part of a larger strategy. Think about it. Since stepping back from royal duties, Meghan has launched multiple media projects, signed massive deals, and built her personal brand to new height. There's no shame in ambition, but when that ambition comes wrapped in December #Eption, people notice, especially #ally people like William, who saw through the charm and straight into the playbook. And let's not forget Harry in all of this. He gave up Eve #writhing, his family, his titles, his home to follow Meghan's lead. The man who once commanded respect as a prince is now navigating life as an average guy in California, in bed with Meghan. He #s a prince with a last name, an Arabic name, and he still goes man the anti-I'm, and everyone knows it because Meghan has it. And while he puts on a brave face, the cracks are visible. The interviews, the memoir, the legal battles, it's all starting to feel less like empowerment and more like damage control. Meanwhile, Meghan's relationship with the royals never stood a chance. Kat Herring, the Princess of Wales, is everything Meghan isn't. Reserved, consistent, deeple #Y root #D in tradition. She doesn't chase the spotlight. It finds her in that quiet power, that steady grace. It probably made Meghan feel invisible, or worse. Second best, jealousy is a powerful thing. It doesn't always show up as rage or cruelty. Sometimes it's subtler, passive, strategic. And in Meghan's case, it may have shown up as rivalry masked in politeness, the kind of silent war that doesn't need to be spoken to be felt. Truth is, Meghan and Catherine were never going to be best friends. But it didn't have to be war. That only happened because Meghan didn't just want to belong to the royal family. She wanted to change it. And when that didn't work, she walked away and burned every bridge on her way out. It's a painful irony, really. Meghan could have had it all. The public support, the platform, the royal respect, but that wasn't enough. She didn't just want a crown beside her #me. She wanted the #power behind it. And the moment she realized she'd never outrank Catherine, the fairy tale started to fall apart. When the spotlight fades and the applause stops, what's left is the truth people we too distracted to see. Prince Harry, once one of the most beloved royals, now finds himself stranded in a strange in-between. No longer part of the institution that reared him, yet still tethered to its legacy through headlines and controversy. In Meghan, she's chasing relevance in Hollywood while leaving behind a royal chapter written more like a script than a love story. There's a saying, how someone treats their own family tells you everything. And in Meghan's case, the signs were flashing red from the beginning. A complicated fallout with her father, a nearly non-existent relationship with her extended family, and a pattern of friction with those who challenged her narrative. So, things began unraveling with the royal family. It wasn't a shock to anyone paying attention. It was just history repeating itself, this time on a global stage. Royal life isn't for everyone. It's not glitz and tiaras. It's duty, sacrifice, and knowing your role. Meghan stepped into that world not to serve, but to shine. And when she realized she couldn't rewrite the rules, she flipped the board. Interviews were given, documentaries were filmed, and private pain was packaged into digestible content for public consumption. But here's the harsh twist. In trying to control the story, Meghan and Harry lost control of the narrative. What started as a love story turned hashtag into a brand strategy, and that brand needed drama to stay alive. They weren't just leaving the royal family. They were accusing, blaming, exposing, all while hoping the world would stay on their side. It's a dangerous game when your credibility becomes your currency. And the Sussexes have already started to show. Failed ventures, dropped projects, and dwindling public sympathy have made it clear people aren't buying hashtag what they're selling the way they used to. Because the more they talk, the more people remember the red flags they ignored hashtag in the beginning. And through it all, Prince William has remained quiet, reserved, focused. But behind that silence is a man who watched his family take blow after blow hashtag W and still chose not to retaliate. That's power. T hashtag hats restraint. And that's exactly why the monarchy survives. Not because it's perfect, but because those at the top under hashtag stand when not to speak. William's loyalty to the Crow WN runs deeper than his loyalty to his brother. And when Harry chose to walk away, William stayed. Not because he lacked irons, but because he understood the weight of his responsibility. That's the difference. William was born for the crown. Harry was born with it, but never wanted what came with it. Meghan once wanted to walk her down the aisle. That one request, buried beneath royal protocol and palace whispers, now says more than any interview ever could. She wanted the heir, not the spare. She wanted the spotlight, not the shadow, and maybe, just maybe, she saw Harry as a shortcut to Summerth hashtagging bigger. But shortcuts rarely lead to happily ever after. Now, years later, we're watching a couple who once captivated the world slowly fade into the background. Not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of too much ambition too fast, with too little understanding of the institution they tried to outplay. And the royal family still standing, bruised maybe, but intact, stronger than ever. Because when the noise dies down and the drama ends, what lasts is legacy. Not attention, not outrage. Legacy. And no matter how loud Meghan and Harry shout from across the ocean, the crown doesn't need to respond.